Alright, hi everybody, here on the USD Swiss franc, doing some volumes and transfers and traps, trying to pair it all together. On this one, we'll start off with this overall downtrend. So I'll do a quick read and then I'll analyze a little more. So we have a prolonged range, a break to the downside. The guy who started made lower lows, pulled back, pushed, couldn't make any lower lows, just kind of hung around this area, and then he eventually was able to make a lower low from this guy who started it. Made a lower low, quick pullback, a strong push down with high volume, higher than anything else you see. So that high volume is at the end of this overall downtrend. So it makes me wonder who is selling down here, and it looks like they sold pretty strongly. So the question is, who is selling down there at the bottom of this downtrend? As we continue the read, the buyers seem to push up, or the sellers push down, make a lower low, a pullback, a deep pullback, challenging the guy who started. The sellers attempt again with fairly low volume, nothing too bright. It is high, but relatively it's not as high as this. And then we break above with not relatively high volume. I mean, there is higher volume. It's even higher than most of these. Nice cluster, but regardless, it's still not as high as this one. And this one was for the sell side, but it transferred now to the buy side because we took out the guy who started and trapped these guys. And this should be a pretty strong trap because of the volume that was in here from this guy. Helped propel these sells, but they couldn't make a lower low, and they resolved to the upside. So that, like I said, that volume transfers to the buy side. So thinking of all that, this should be a good release area, and it seems like it was. There was a pretty strong reaction, even though the sells came down very hard. There is a little bit of volume that would be in this range near the bottom. So what I think there is, who's buying way up there? Is that the question to ask? Who's buying up high in this? Even though this was a very strong push, people could just be thinking that it's a buy, I guess. But it seemed to resolve to the downside, but it did not take out the guy who started. And it did react from here, from the release. Alright, so just, I guess to keep going on this one, we have a little high volume spike in here that's uncommon for this time of day, but it didn't go anywhere. It's just right here, still for the buy side because we're still in buyer's overall territory. It looks like we released from here. The sellers attempted again, possibly some support resistance type sellers from this prolonged range, and this could be another trap. Technically, I guess technical analysis, this could be a range trap right here. So maybe that's where this attempt came from. Could not make a lower low. We have some higher volume in here, and then we have some extremely high volume here, and that's resolving to the upside. So is it logical for me to think that the buys are going to continue? I have to think about this one. Okay, the more I look at this one, I'm more apt definitely to the buys on this one because, like I said, this was a fairly decent range, around 24 hours. And then we broke, trapping anybody that was attempting a range sell from here or here. I mean, I'm sorry, a buy from here to here. I mean, they got trapped in a sense. We did not take out the guy who started, so I need to remember that. But I still think that technical analysis only would further attempt sells after this big candle breakdown. Further attempt sells. Trying sells again off this support resistance. And then they get trapped. But if you're looking at this as the guy who started, even from this guy, possibly someone pushed here, and then we got trapped. Taking this guy out finally, and now this could possibly be a release for the buys. I know that was a lot. And then you have all this volume still behind you that's resolving to the upside. So there's volume behind you here, volume behind you here, and all this transferred volume is still all behind you, saying that this wants to buy. And if I zoom out a little bit, this overall downtrend seems to be turning around, because if you look at the huge overall view, you have some high volume spikes here, but from here to here, most of this high volume is at the end of this entire move. I hope that made sense. And I'll call that good.